Hello, grade 10s, and we are back with group data this time. And there's some information up here about when we use group data, and the only one I want to pick out is that it's for continuous data. So when you measure some values and they're all going to be slightly different. So it's useful then to group our data into intervals. Okay, so let's run straight into our example. And our example's got here, so it's got a little story, right? So our story says, Adventure Tours hires out quad bikes. Okay, so I can picture it. Here's a, oh no, it's artwork time, right? I don't know. What does a quad bike look like? Like that, right? Okay, so you got quad bikes. Now, this is showing data for 50 different times a particular quad bike was hired out, and it's showing how much petrol was used in liters. So why do you think this data is continuous data? Okay, continuous, what am I going to say now? I'm interested in what you've said, but continuous data, it doesn't just break neatly. It could have been heights we had before, and in fact liters I used before as an example of how many liters of water in a pool or something. Okay, so we've got this, and we've got some stats for this. So I'm going to label each of these. You definitely do not need to label this. I'm labeling it for the sake of asking the questions now. So in A, we've got 0 to 4, 4 to 8 in B, etc., etc. So if there was one of those times the quad bike was hired out, it used, let's say, for example, 13,634 liters of petrol. Which would it be an A, B, C, D, or E? Okay, well, 13,64 is clearly going to be between 12 and 16, so it's one of these 7 times. Okay, so that's the idea. And then another one might have been 13,635, and it's also here, but hey, also 15,5, all the way up to 16. Maybe let's ask this question next, and that is, if we had a quad bike that used 8 liters of petrol. So let's write it down here. 8 liters of petrol. Which block would it be in? Well, it would be in B because this thing here says that we're including 8. Remember the square bracket including. So therefore 8 is actually on the line, but we include it as part of this block because it's included in there. Okay, last question that's going to be along those lines. This here is a histogram. That's what it said here. What makes this a histogram and not, say, a column or bar chart? Well, the histogram is because it's continuous. So there's 3,99999 and there's 4. It's not like, okay, which ice cream do you prefer most? This flavor or this flavor or this flavor, where these would be categories and this would be number of people. It's continuous data, so that's why it's a histogram. Okay, so there's maybe just some useful stuff here, and I think we're just going to come across this question here when we see the question about it. Okay, so we need to determine 3 things. Determine the modal interval. What do you think the modal interval, what do you think it means? What is the modal interval? And then what is the modal interval? Okay, that was a confusing way of asking, right? But mode, most, and where do most of the things happen? Well, most of the quad bikes seem to be here in this one here, so it's between 8 and 12, so our modal interval is 8 and 12. Or if you wanted to write it in this format, 8 is between 8, x is between 8 and 12, including, excluding. It's the biggest number, but it's quite useful that the picture just jumps out at you saying, there it is, there's the highest one. Okay, let's go to the next one. An estimate of the mean. Go for it. Try and figure it out. What do you think an estimate of the mean is? Okay, so you've got some sort of value there. And the question is, why is it an estimate? Why can't we just say determine the mean? Okay, interesting, right? Very interesting. So what do we have to do here? Well, our estimate of the mean, we've got 3 bikes that were in this first bit. Here they are here. Let's highlight them like that. There are 3. But those 3 we have no idea. Could have been 0,0001. Somebody just started the quad bike, handed it back, and all 3 of those could have been that. But we're kind of just going to guess that it's slap bang in the middle. So it's almost like we've got, so for this one here, for question 2, it's almost like we've got 3 quad bikes that used 2 liters. Because we're just going to guesstimate it's in the middle there. And then for our next bit, we're going to say, well, over here we've got 14 quad bikes. And we're just going to say, on average, they used 6 each. So it's the mean of each interval. And so we can keep going. Plus these 25 and these 25. Let's just say that each of them used 10. We don't know if they all used 8,1 or all used 12, but kind of, hopefully we'll get close enough. If the data set were big enough, that would work better. Plus 7 times 12 and 16. 12 plus 16, 28 divided by 2, 14. Or, hey, 14 just looks in the middle, doesn't it? And our last one, we've got one that used, say, 18. Plus 18, no, plus 1 times 18. And I've written this fraction terribly. Don't write it like me, like that. You know, write it neatly. So over 50. So we pop up our calculator and we also move me out of the way. Hopefully all of that's working. And we punch all that in, so we've got a fraction. 3 times 2 plus 14 times 6 plus, I need one of those fast forward buttons, and I get 9,12. 9,12 liters. Don't forget your unit. Okay, so there we are. Let's minimize our calculator, and hopefully we're up and running there. Okay, so there's where we are. Now, we need our last bit, which is, what are we in? Red. An estimate. Oh, let's go purple. An estimate. I'm going to move out of the way here. And I've got some space here now. An estimate of the median value. What does the median describe again? The median's the middle value. So we've got 50. Remember, it told us there are 50 different bikes. So if there are 50, like 50 data points, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, blah, 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 blah. This middle bit, which positions are those going to be? Okay, well, 50 over 2 is 25. And we said, well, if there were 4, then it would have been data point 2 and 3. So this is like data point 25 and 26, right? 4 divided by 2 gives you the 2. So it's that one and the next one. So 25 and 26. So that's where we're looking for those 2 data points. And it's an estimate. So let's see if we can describe this a bit better. Now, if you've got this, great stuff. Let's just take a sense of things. How are you feeling? Are you just going to listen through to be polite for the next part? And you've got this, you know how to work out the estimate of the median value. Or are you a little bit interested in it? Or are you desperately in need of how we're going to find this? Okay, and really, I hope that you honestly said the first one. If you knew how to do it, and if I'm reading and you've all done that, then I'm thinking, what did you do now? Okay, so let's find it. We've got 3 values in here. Now we're looking for the 25th and the 26th. So the 4th value is over here somewhere, all the way up to the 5th, the 6th, the 7th. There are 14 over here. Altogether, there's 17 up to this point. So value data points 4 to 17 are here. Then the 18th data point is here. So there it is. It's sitting in this one. And we've got 18, 19, 20, 25, a whole lot here. Up to 42 of them have been up to this point. And then we've got the next 7 here. So data point number 43 up to, well, we've got another 7. So 17, 42, up to, what are we saying? 42 plus another 7, 49. And our 50th data point is here. Now just check. So we said 1 to 3 were here. 1 to 3, 4 to 17. Okay. hopefully that works, which means where are 25 and 26? Well, they're definitely in here. So it says an estimate of the median, which means where's kind of the middle, which means this is 10 liters. So it's approximately, so let's write here, the median is approximately 10 liters because it's sitting in this here. It could have said the median interval, in which case you'd say the whole interval. Okay, that is that, and I think we leave it at that. You've got some work to do in the exercise in the textbook, so you can do a few of those yourself. Next thing of work to do for today is measures of dispersion. So we're going to go through those, which we're actually going to mostly use in tomorrow's lesson on box and whiskers. But hey, keep going, keep cruising. Love it. See you in the next one.